Now, I'm going to leave you with this really useful tool just before I hand over to Joby. It's something that a lot of people have got a lot of value from. We've talked a lot about what questions to ask partners, but these are the sort of questions that partners are going to have on their mind when you approach them with your opening value proposition, even if they don't speak them out loud. They'll want to know, as I said before, how much demand exists for the product. Can you prove it? Can you show why their customers would purchase it? How much competition is there? And are you going to be one of the competitors? What market segments have you targeted and why? What's your coverage strategy? Is this the partner going to be one amongst many other resellers, or is this an area that they've got a chance to make some money? How committed is management to the channel? What happens if there's conflict? If there's a deal to be won at the end of the quarter, does it mean the channel always loses and the vendor must win? How will this impact their current business? And I'll leave you to read the rest of those questions there. So if you can answer those questions, then I suspect you're going to have a really strong value proposition to interest your partners in change and invest. So my question and challenge to you is, can you answer these questions? Can your channel salespeople, and do they have any proof? Okay, Joby, I think it's time I gave my voice a rest and yours a workout.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Phil. And I just want to take a second and think, looking at the attendee list and see a lot of familiar names from the previous two webinars. So appreciate everybody who's joined us for the whole series and especially for today. And definitely thank everyone for their positive feedback on the value they've received. And so we're open to ideas or any other topics that are top of mind for you to just let us know what you'd like to hear more about, and Channel Enablers and CSG would be happy to put something together and address any of those concerns you might have or opportunities you want to learn about. So through this webinar series, we learned how to establish the optimal channel coverage, and then we covered how to recruit the right partners. And then today you heard Phil cover how to develop the partner investment propositions that will help you sell your company, your solutions, and your programs. So by following these best practices described in the webinar series, you'll really have set your channel up for sales success. But I'd like to cover how you can keep that channel sales momentum going with your partners. So now you have the right partners, you've got them engaged, but that's not enough to develop a long-lasting, profitable relationship, which is what Phil's been talking about. So some things you need to consider when setting up a strategy to develop those profitable relationships with your partners are, that your partners have at least 20 other vendor relationships. So keeping front of mind and getting the lion's share of their sales team's attention isn't just going to happen by accident. You need to have the strong value propositions Phil spoke about to keep your solutions and your programs top of mind for their sales and marketing teams. But then you really have to focus on keeping it there. Another important point to think about is that your competitors are calling on your partners every week with compelling messaging about why their solution's the best. So obviously you won the partner by convincing them your company was the better choice, but to keep the partner, you need to keep proving that. So not only will you, by doing this, not only will you keep your partner's mind share, but you're also going to enable them to win against your competition in the field. So having competitive battle cards, client case studies, other product comparisons, these should be shared with your partners on a consistent quarter-over-quarter basis, again, to keep it front of mind with them. And Phil pointed this out as well. Partners rate their relationships with their vendor, first, obviously on profitability, but typically second on ease of doing business. So, ease of doing business essentially boils down to how effective you are at informing the partner how best to partner with you. What is their next most logical step to grow their relationship with you? And then you need to have the appropriate non-complex tools and programs designed to help them drive revenue with you. So, again, based on each partner type, you should have clear roadmaps that directs the partner on their next logical step. So this may include training schedules and then marketing campaigns that are mapped to the trainings once they've completed them and things like that. And then really important, for ease of doing business, a partner needs a single number or an email alias they can reach you through and get answers about your partner program. the campaigns you have in market, in all of your training programs, and so forth. Asking a partner to dig for that information on your portal or your newsletters will not get you high marks with your partners. We hear that from them all the time. And then finally, partners are just overwhelmed by the amount of communication they receive from their vendors. So we've done a number of partner surveys, and in one survey, one of our favorite questions to ask is, how much communication do you receive from your vendors each week? And on average, we've heard about 7. So if we think about that, that's potentially over 140 communications a week asking them to do something. So get trained on this product, join this campaign, pick up this product line, those sort of things. Most partners are just end up tuning these out just because of the sheer volume of communications. But really, they end up just being confused on what you as their vendor think is the most important next step for your relationship. So again, it kind of goes back to the roadmaps. So depending on the size of your channel and the amount of partner-facing resources you have, this can be a daunting task to overcome some of these pitfalls or take advantage of them. So I'd like to share with you a proven solution you can build internally or with the right planning, outsource, so you can free up your teams to focus on their core competencies. So the solution centers around consistent, timely, and valuable communications to your partners. So to fight the clutter of communications from the other 20 vendors your partner's working with, to keep the competition from stealing your partners away, and keep your partner engaged with purposeful direction, and also to help accelerate the partner's pipeline, you'll need to establish that strong, ongoing relationship with them. There are a number of ways to approach this, but the most cost-effective, productive way we've established as a best practice is to create what we call a virtual account management team. So now, typically, most vendors manage their Tier 1 or their elite partners with field-based resources, which makes sense given the strategic importance. But the next layer of partners are critically important to the stability of your program and your revenues. So, but typically, given budgets and whatnot, don't warrant the field-based management that you provide your elite partners. So a virtual account management team is an excellent way to handle these kind of partners. With account managers, partners receive a main point of contact for vendor-related opportunities, and the virtual account manager is responsible for building and sustaining the vendor's entire relationship with the managed partner. They develop a deep understanding of each partner's business portfolio and their pipeline by acting as that trusted advisor Phil mentioned for each of their partners. The account managers also, will be available to help with lead nurturing, lead management, lead distribution, getting them engaged in marketing activities, helping them qualify opportunities and whatnot. So as a sales advocate, account managers will drive your partner's pipeline and provide closed-loop reporting and feedback from the partners to you, which will be invaluable for you as you move forward. Virtual account managers, will manage a book of partners. So depending on the partner size, what kind of deals and the volume of deals they're doing, what's the partner's marketing sophistication, maybe how many or how much MDF funds you make available to them. We've seen successful programs run from a 1 to 50 all the way up to a 1 to 600 ratio of account manager to partner. So I'd like to tell you a little story about how one of our clients successfully launched a virtual account management team to kind of put this a little bit more into perspective. Phil, if you can go to the next slide there. So in this example, our client had nearly 6,000 SMB-focused partners that they really wanted to see what they could do to drive more revenue through those partners. And they gave those partners access to MDF funds, co-branded marketing collateral. They were even supplying them with some leads that the vendor was generating. They had lots of training resources out there for them and other various marketing materials. The problem that was essentially that the partners had low adoption and awareness of all these benefits. So prior to launching the virtual account management program, we did some additional profiling, and based on the criteria, we were really interested in working on with the partners that wanted to engage with the vendor, that had growth plans of their own, and so we ended up just with about 1,800 of the 6,000 partners kind of fit that mold. What we quickly found, though, also was that many of these partners lacked the marketing sophistication to take advantage of the client-supplied offering. So to Phil's point, it was great. The value propositions were there. The vendor took some time on what's in it for the partner. The partners heard that value proposition and were interested. They just really didn't have the time, money, or resources to pull it off without at least some guidance. So we implemented a team of geographically aligned virtual account managers who acted as that single point of contact for all of their assigned partners. And their primary job was to drive additional revenue with each partner. So in addition, with the pipeline and driving revenue, they also help the partners maintain or grow their status in the partner program, got them the right resources when they needed, and ultimately just were responsible for strengthening the overall relationship with the vendor. So the team helped their partners drive revenue by coaching and assisting them to launch customer acquisition programs, for the most part utilizing the resources the vendor made available to their partners. So again, these included co-branded marketing materials. The virtual account managers help their partners create email and direct mail and telesales campaigns. They help them launch hosted events such as local lunch and learns, help the partner develop lead follow-up and nurturing programs, and then did the very tactical things of like holding their hands to help them qualify for the MDF funds that were available, and then really made sure that they got their share of the client-supplied leads by following the rules and participating in the marketing campaigns that would get them those leads. So and next slide, Bill, thanks. The virtual account managers, have pipeline management as a large part of their responsibility. So they provided assistance when a lead stalled in the pipeline, made sure they maybe got a competitive white paper or got a data sheet on the product, anything that would help them kind of push those leads along. And then most importantly, they really kind of kept on top of their partners to make sure they were following up on the leads and providing feedback on those leads. And then that ultimately allowed the partner to get even more leads for the vendor. But ultimately, the virtual account managers taught their partners how to fish for themselves. So, again, we showed them how to do their own lead acquisition or customer acquisition programs using the client-supplied materials or marketing collateral. But this really ended up setting up our clients' SMB channel for long-term success. So as revenue generation was the primary goal, results were measured by comparing a base set of similar partners that were not provided an account manager. The managed partners' growth in comparison to the unmanaged partners was used to determine the ROI of the program. And this ongoing program continues to net our client a 25-to-1 return on investment, which I think is worth any investment. And it's not too difficult to implement either yourself or through an outsourced vendor. But I think another telling sign was when we talked about ease of doing business was that in addition, the managed set of partners had the highest scores in the client's annual partner satisfaction survey. So I think that says a lot about how just getting consistent, timely communication to your partners can really engage them in that long-term relationship. So utilizing that virtual account management team, will enable you to gain and keep your partner's mind share, ward off the poaching by your competitors, and give your partner clear direction and help accelerate their sales pipelines. These programs have a proven ROI, and when well implemented, will ensure that the work you did into recruiting all those right partners and developing a strong investment value proposition will continue to pay off for you for years to come. Great, so let's, and we are definitely open to receiving any questions you have on how to do this either yourself or through an outsourced vendor. But I'd like to kind of summarize the webinar today, and then we'll open it up for to answer any questions that came in during the webinars. So in summary, Phil talked about that your company's initial value proposition should be built on some solid market data that demonstrates the economic potential of the investment to the partner, but that good story by itself is just not enough. It only wins you the right to spend more time understanding your key partners. So then you can go out and shape a unique value proposition to the things they think are important. And like any key relationship, you then have to put time into ensuring this value is delivered to the partner and that they recognize that they actually received it. So ongoing review, consistent and fair partner programs, and frequent two-way communications are an important part of the overall value relationship.